There we go. Hey everyone, today on Feathers Off-Road, I started in the early morning hours to make a day ride out of the Utah BDR again. This was section 4, which goes from Wellington, Utah to Current Creek. Now, I'm going to clarify that this is about 90% of section 4. I did not technically go all the way to Wellington. I was leaving from my house, but I did pick up the trail just outside my 9 Mile Canyon. I would say that if you do this ride, definitely stop at the petroglyphs in 9 Mile. That is marked as a waypoint in the BDR GPX tracks. Anyway, I picked up the trail a little outside Helper, Utah, and this is going to be another long video, ride video. I'd recommend using the chapters. I'm hoping to give people a sense of what these trails are like. So we did a little bit of exploring, moved a tree, crossed several streams, we saw some amazing scenery. I've never been to most of these roads, and I really enjoyed this ride. So the beginning of this section begins leaving Wellington, going north. You hit 9 Mile Canyon. This is again what's becoming a theme for me on these Utah BDR routes, but like this is again a pretty wide fire road. Pretty smooth. There's a number of cabins, even power lines you'll see kind of coming up here. You can carry a lot of speed, probably in the deer hunt seasons, late in the fall. I would guess that this is a very crowded area, so depending on time of year that you're going, you know, you can carry as much speed as you dare. Visibility's pretty good, you can see pretty far, but you're in between two ridges for most of this section. You go up 9 Mile, and then you start heading west in Argyle Canyon. After working your way through 9 Mile and Argyle, you cross the paved road for just a second and then start working your way up on top of the ridge. At this point, off to my right is Current Creek area, looking north. And again, a lot of cabins here at the beginning, private land, but you get into Forest Service land, you kind of go. Now, we're climbed a lot of elevation in this section. You'll see in just a second that the trees are starting to clear out. I would say that again, if you're doing this September, October, probably a high chance of snow up in this area. This was all filmed in July. So, you know, again, I don't know that I would do this much later than end of September. All right, we had our first collision here on the Triumph. Bike looks okay, but we came into a slight downhill left kind of decreasing radius turn. Got off the trail right there, but bike's good, human's good. We practice and we keep moving. It's really pretty out that way. I think we're going that way. So we'll see. So after we'd been up on top of this ridge for quite some time, we had seen a number of two-track trails kind of left and right of this main BDR track. So we were looking at the map, decided next one we come across, we're going to go explore a little bit, because eventually the BDR drops down into those mountains you can see in the distance. We're going to go, this is maybe the highest point, let's say, of section 4, and then we drop back down into that next valley. So we came across another two-track here, decided to go just explore one of these little, half-mile trails that go down. Something a little more challenging. That'll stop it. People have driven around. You dare try to get around? Probably heavy. We could try and pull it. I wish I had a winch. Let's see what we can do here. Just a couple of guys moving a log. Let me move my bike back a little. Bet we could get it off the road. There we go. Now we don't need to ruin our trails by making new trails. Take a break for a second?
Yeah.
Just to explain the comment a little bit about making new trails. So a lot of the land that we ride around here is either Forest Service land or Bureau of Land Management land, essentially both government lands. And the Forest Service or BLM, they come and they maintain the trails, and if they see a bunch of people widening the trails, going around obstacles and stuff like that, they'll close trails. They've done it. We've lost trails, occasionally get new trails, but they definitely close more than they open. So for us, it's real important to not really go create new trails. It's not a private place that we're riding on. It's not private land maintained by a company. We headed back up to the main trail from the two-track, and this is really where we began our descent down. So here we're up on top of the ridge. You can see pretty much 360 degrees all the way around. The views are amazing up here. As you start to drop down, though, it's a really cool view. You're kind of hugging the side of the ridge for a long time, going through the trees. You got kind of a cliffside on one, trees on the other, and eventually you work down towards a bunch of river crossings, which is coming up. somewhere we're gonna take a left. Probably right down where these trees are. So eventually we get down all the way to the bottom of the canyon and we're in the river bottom itself. Now as I've watched this, after all this editing, I've got, 5 minutes of river crossings. I would definitely avoid this area in June, especially where this year, we've had a heavy snow year. If you came here at the wrong time, I think some of these river crossings would be insanely deep. This was middle of July, really wasn't too bad for most of these, but I don't think I would come on this part in June. Nice. Oh, a little river. Okay, here we go. Oh, shit. Nice. Alright, well, might borrow your muscles. Now I didn't crash. I was trying to turn around to get some video. And I can lift here. Thank you. Good? There's a river up here. Oh, more revs. Yeah, that's nice. Ooh, that was a deep one. That got deep. That isn't why I wanted you to go first. Maybe I'll go slightly left of that. Oh. I am wet. Smell it. I guess we're just in the riverbeds now. Maybe this is the washout. I mean, this looks crazy. So once you finally get through all the river crossings, you hit this dirt road, which is going to bring you up towards Highway 40, but the views here are super cool. Almost Grand Canyon-like. In fact, we have a spot in Utah called Little Grand Canyon, which isn't far from where we're riding here. And the way the rest of this trail goes up to Highway 40 is you're just following along that river you were just crossing over. So you're in between these two canyons. You got these nice rock vistas on one side, big hills. Super pretty riding through here for the next, I don't know, 10 miles. To be clear, I never actually made it to Current Creek on this trip either. I've got another video showing that section. So where this one is supposed to go from Wellington to Current Creek, I cut off the very beginning and I cut off the very end. But what I would say in my final thoughts here is that the amount of terrain, the variety, the high mountain ridge, the canyons at the beginning, the river crossings, and now these like rock vistas, this is a pretty amazing trail. From a scenery perspective, there's so many different types. I think, again, if you hit this really early in the spring or in spring runoff, I think this could be a pretty challenging section. So my advice would be either hit it before the spring runoff, maybe May or August, September. It's probably the best time for a section like this, but I really enjoyed this one. Again, hope you enjoyed this video. Hit me up if you have questions, but until next time, enjoy the ride.